Welcome to the Script Snap. Today, we're recapping the 2023 sci-fi horror No One Will Save You. The story follows Brynn Adams, a creative soul living in total isolation. Her home is a sanctuary far from the nearest neighbor, where she spends her days as a seamstress, sewing clothes to make a living. She has no family left, and no friends to call. In fact, the people in her town harbor a deep, unspoken resentment toward her. While Brynn isn't a bad person, she is haunted by a shadow from her past, something she hasn't been able to forgive herself for. On an ordinary morning, Brynn finishes her chores and prepares for a trip to the post office. Before leaving, she pauses to admire a miniature model of her town. This isn't just a hobby, it's a legacy. Her mother began building it before she passed away, and Brynn has been meticulously finishing it in her memory. As she steps into the yard, she notices something unsettling: a strange, circular mark scorched into her lawn. It's unnatural, and for someone as protective of her home as Brynn, it's worrying. But, running late, she brushes it off and heads into town. The trip reveals the weight of her isolation. The townsfolk avoid her gaze. Conversations stop when she nears. She exists in a bubble of suspicion and coldness. At one point, she tries to speak to a young man she clearly has feelings for, but he ignores her completely, leaving her stung by the rejection. After a visit to her mother's grave, Brynn spots the town police chief and his wife. Panicked, she hides behind her car to avoid a confrontation. Back in the safety of her home, she writes a letter to her childhood friend, Maud. It's here we realize the chief and his wife are actually Maud's parents, and that Maud is no longer alive. 10 years ago, Maud died, and Brynn carries the crushing guilt of feeling responsible. This tragedy is the root of the town's hatred. Brynn writes these letters often, but she never sends them. They are merely echoes of a past she can't escape. Later that day, a glimmer of joy arrives. A delivery truck brings the final piece for her miniature model, a tiny schoolhouse. For a brief moment, the town is complete. Brynn dances, celebrating the small victory with a drink. But the joy is fleeting. Every time she thinks of Maud, the sadness returns. In her writing, she admits that even after a decade, the forgiveness she seeks remains out of reach. As night falls, Brynn heads to bed, unaware that high above, something mysterious and silent is slowly closing in on her home. While Brynn sleeps, the peace of her isolated home begins to fracture. It starts with the lights, flickering with an unnatural rhythm. Sudden, loud crashes outside pull her from sleep, and looking through the window, she sees her yard in chaos, trash cans scattered as if tossed by an invisible force. The power is dead. Guided only by shadows, Brynn creeps downstairs, her heart racing. She freezes on the steps. The front door is standing wide open, swinging on its hinges. Before she can even process the intrusion, a shadow moves across the floor. It isn't human. It's something else, something alien. Terrified and silent, Brynn retreats to her bedroom and slides under the bed. The creature follows. From her hiding spot, she watches it from inches away, listening to the eerie, mechanical clicks of its breath. It feels like an eternity before the visitor finally exits through the window, appearing to defy gravity as it vanishes into the night. It is clear. This being possesses technology and power far beyond human comprehension. Brynn rushes to slam the window shut, but the relief is short-lived. Footsteps thud heavily on the roof above. She sprints downstairs to lock the door, but the house itself seems to turn against her. The lights strobe violently. She reaches for the phone to call for help, but it's dead. The entity is in control now, manipulating the electricity to trap her, using the refrigerator door to pin her into a corner. In a desperate scramble, she pushes past the invisible force. A loud crash splinters the door, and a piece of flying wood strikes her head, leaving her bloodied but conscious. The alien doesn't need to touch her to move her. It controls the very space around her. As it drags her toward it using some unseen telekinetic grip, Brynn finds a jagged piece of wood. With a burst of survival instinct, she strikes. The creature writhes in agony and falls still. Brynn spends the rest of the night in a state of shock, staring at the corpse of a nightmare. Morning brings no rescue. The phone is still silent, the electrical systems are fried, and her car refuses to start. Bleeding and traumatized, she cleans herself up and barricades the broken front door with a sofa, a fragile shield against an impossible enemy. She sets out on her bicycle, and the scale of the horror becomes clear. The town is in ruins. The boy she liked, the neighbors who shunned her, everyone has been hit. Strange circular markings, identical to the one in her yard, are burned into the landscape. The attack wasn't personal. It was an invasion. Seeking any shred of authority, she heads to the police station. But even in the middle of an apocalypse, the town's grudge remains. When she encounters Maud's parents, the mother spits in her face. The message is loud and clear. Even now, she is a pariah. Realizing that no one is coming to save her, Brynn turns away, feeling the crushing weight of her isolation. With her home compromised and the town hostile, she spots a bus heading out of town, her last hope for escape. Escape is a fragile hope. As Brynn nears the bus, the delivery man she saw only a day before turns on her. But it isn't just aggression. His movements are jerky, unnatural, and a rhythmic, clicking sound echoes from his throat. Inside his mouth, something is moving, a parasite, pulsing with alien life. The horror spreads. Every passenger on the bus rises, their eyes vacant, their bodies hijacked. Only the driver remains human, slamming on the brakes to give Brynn a split-second chance to flee. She runs until her lungs burn, reaching the local church, but the doors are bolted shut. With nowhere else to turn, she collapses at Maud's grave. The mystery is finally laid bare. The letters, the guilt, the isolation, all of it belongs to a friend who has been gone for years. In this moment of absolute vulnerability, the sky itself begins to fracture. Dark, swirling clouds gather, glowing with a sickly, bioluminescent light. The invasion isn't coming. It's already here. Seeking any sign of life, Brynn rushes to the home of the boy she liked, but the neighborhood has become a silent choir of the damned. People stand in the streets, hands raised toward the flashing sky, the same worm-like parasites rippling beneath the skin of their throats. The aliens aren't just attacking Earth. They are colonizing it, turning humanity into a collection of hollow vessels. Brynn realizes there is nowhere left to run. Returning to her house, she finds a trail of strange fluid leading away from the dead alien's body. Something has crawled out of it. She stops running. She stops hiding. It's time to choose. Fight or die. She prepares her sanctuary for a final stand. She boils water, lights candles for vision, and reinforces the barricades with whatever she can find. But human defenses are useless against their power. The nails she hammered into the window frames begin to pull themselves out, hovering in the air. The aliens have returned for their fallen kin, lifting the dead body into the night as if it were weightless. Brynn retreats to the basement, but she isn't alone. A new visitor stalks the stairs. She swings at it with scissors, but the creature tosses the weapon aside with a casual flick of its mind. In the struggle, Brynn's hand brushes against old childhood photos of her and Maud. The alien pauses, tilting its head, curiously examining the memories of a dead girl. Seizing the distraction, Brynn bolts, only to be cut off by a smaller, spindly creature with elongated limbs. She throws the boiling water, but it barely slows the thing down. She scrambles into the bathroom, locking the door, but wood splinters as the creature forces its way in. As she tries to squeeze through the narrow window, long fingers wrap around her legs, dragging her back into the dark. With the roar of a survivor, Brynn fights back. She swings a broom, finds a jagged, broken stick, and drives it through the creature's shoulder, pinning the nightmare to the wall. Brynn is no longer just a victim. She is a warrior. She slams a cabinet door into the creature's face again and again until the life leaves its eyes. But the relief is momentary. Outside, the invasion has turned personal. A man, his mind hollowed out by a parasite, drags Brynn toward a towering column of light descending from a craft above. She is a threat now, a human who has killed their kind, and the aliens want her. With a desperate kick, she sends her captor into the beam instead. The craft rejects him halfway up, dropping him like trash. They don't want just anyone. They want her. A massive entity steps forward to claim her, but Brynn's survival instinct is razor sharp. She lures it into her car, traps it inside, and sets the vehicle ablaze. As the creature screams in the flames, Brynn retreats back to her house, but she isn't alone. Another visitor is there, calmly examining the photos of her and Maud. Before she can strike, a searing red light fills the room, freezing her mid-air. She is paralyzed. The alien leans in, and the nightmare becomes intimate. A parasite crawls from its throat into hers. Suddenly, the world shifts. The darkness vanishes. Brynn is back in a peaceful, perfect version of her home. Everything is safe. She walks downstairs and finds Maud standing there, alive and well. Overwhelmed, Brynn weeps, begging for forgiveness. But reality pierces through the fog. Maud is dead. Realizing this heaven is just an alien-induced hallucination meant to break her will, Brynn fights back. She reaches into her own throat and rips the parasite out, rejecting the beautiful lie. But the horror isn't over. As she flings the parasite away, a beam of light hits it, and the creature rapidly clones itself. It shifts and grows until it is an exact double of Brynn, a copy with her face, her voice, and her memories. The clone attacks with a knife, but Brynn finds the strength for one final act of violence. She turns the blade on her double, killing the copy of herself. Weak, bloodied, and broken, Brynn is finally taken. She is lifted into the heart of the ship, where a council of aliens surrounds her. One reaches out, placing a long, thin finger against her forehead. Her mind is opened like a book, and the truth of that tragic day 10 years ago finally spills out. We see it now, a childhood argument gone wrong. A moment of white-hot anger, where Brynn struck Maud with a rock, killing her instantly. The letters, the isolation, the town's hatred, it was all born from that 1 second of violence. The aliens witness it all. The blood, the years of crushing guilt, and the desperate, failed search for forgiveness. They don't see a monster. They see a soul so burdened by regret that she has already lived a lifetime in a prison of her own making. In an unexpected act of mercy, they choose not to hollow her out. They let her go. The aliens return Brynn to Earth, unharmed. But the world she returns to is not the one she left. As she walks through her town, the change is absolute. The cold stares and the whispered insults are gone. The police chief, Maud's parents, and the boy she once loved, they all greet her with smiles and kindness. They accept her completely. But there is a chilling truth beneath the surface. These people are no longer human. They are hosts, controlled by the silent invaders. Yet, to Brynn, it doesn't matter. For the first time in 10 years, she isn't a pariah. Her world is finally peaceful, welcoming, and whole. Looking up, the sky is filled with silent silver craft, confirming that Earth has become a colony. Brynn may very well be the last true human left on the planet. Her life has become a living version of the miniature model she spent years building. Perfect, controlled, and safe. At its heart, this story isn't just about an alien invasion. It's a journey through guilt and the agonizing path to self-forgiveness. Brynn was a prisoner of her own past, haunted by the accidental death of her best friend. The aliens served as a mirror to her inner demons. It was only when she fought through her own trauma and chose to forgive herself that she finally found peace, even if that peace required the end of the world as we know it. Sometimes, the hardest person to escape isn't a monster from another planet, but yourself. If you enjoyed this recap, please like and subscribe for more. See you next time.